everybody, and welcome to this episode of Small Business Success Talk. I'm your host, Christy Smallwood, and today is another episode for Women in History Month, but Women in Business in History Month. How about that? So this episode, I'm very thankful for. I'm a huge shout out to my local chamber of St. Matthews. And because what I did with this episode, I kind of knew it was coming, but I didn't really tell them until like yesterday. Because I didn't want him to overly prep. I like having some on the spot conversations sometimes, but I'm a part of, obviously the chamber, but within the chamber, we have different things that we can do. One of which is roundtables. And so I facilitate a women owned business roundtable, which we meet monthly, and we then bring topics basically topics, to the table that are relevant to our business and how we can grow and what are the struggles and challenges and how do we, get over things and what are the best practices. And we kind of dive deep into good conversation. It's not just lead generation. It's not just hey, I've got this thing I want to sell, or we got to come to this. It's not a promotional time, but it's all about diving deeper time. And so I love this group of women. I love what we accomplish every time we get together. And truly in our chamber, what we've been doing over the past few years is the women in business within our chamber has kind of become its own subculture. I say a subculture. So it's not different than the chamber, but within the chamber, we have our own, and it's not just a women's group, but it's literally its own culture in that we have women's programming, but the culture of it now has its own name. We've just given it ourselves a name to identify with as part of this particular chamber. We're the Chamber Chicks. And so we, as Chamber Chicks, can do more fun things together. Our official programming within the chamber, we have Inspire, where we bring, typically quarterly, we have a lady, wonderful professional woman, will share her inspirational story, her story about anything from her life and what she's learned, and really just a lot of wisdom, a lot of nuggets about like how do you get through it all. And it's a lot more sharing stuff. Like we're open and we talk about these things. Women tend to be doing that, but we also celebrate that woman because she's come a long way and she's doing amazing things. And we don't get to celebrate our goings on very well. And until there's an award dinner. So we are choosing to do this a little bit more on the regular basis. So we have Inspire, and then we have the Women-Owned Business Roundtable. And now what we're doing is taking that into the more of the fun aspect of life and just developing the subculture of Chamber Chicks. And it really did kind of get started when I hosted a Days of Our Lives night at my place, and we just started calling ourselves the Chamber Chicks. And now it's grown into an online community, as well as, there's so many great things that are coming from it. So anyway, to this particular episode, before I go off on that kind of a tangent, this episode, my Women-Owned Business Roundtable, a few of those ladies were able to give me a little extra time after our session. And so we spent that time talking about what it's like to be a woman in business. And so I want to introduce you to Larisa Crawley, Crawley Confections, Kim Raque, who is the Right Solution. She works in PR. Marisa Neal, in consulting. She does she helps people with government contracts. And Vallerie Root, who is actually new to our group. And I'm so excited to learn more about what she's going to be doing with Bourbon Badass Babes, right? Badass Bourbon Babes. I might be getting it wrong, but you're going to hear a little bit about all these ladies and their experiences. So as a panel discussion today, we're going to talk about what it's like to be a woman in business. So here are my friends. It's recording. So yes. Ladies, thank you so much for being willing to have this panel discussion. Nothing too formal, but if you take just a hot second to introduce yourself, that way my listeners can get to know your voice real quick, of who you are, what you do, and then we'll take it from there. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Oh, go ahead, Marisa.
Okay. I'm Marisa Neal. I help companies with local, state, and federal government contracting.
I'm Larisa Crawley. I'm the owner and cookie artist for Crawley Creative Confections in Louisville, Kentucky, where I can find a cookie solution to any problem.
Hi, I'm Vallerie. I'm the CEO and founder of Bourbon Boss Babes, which is a community for small business entrepreneurs, women only, throughout Kentucky. And we are just a community where we come in and help you succeed in life.
I'm Kim Raque, and my company is The Right Solution, and I'm a public relations consultant.
I love you guys for being here. I appreciate it because for all of my listeners, I basically drafted them from a women's roundtable that we're all a part of. And this is going to be great. So this month on my show for Small Business Success Talk, we are focusing on women in business because it is Women's History Month. And so this month I'm making that the focus. I know in our group, we've had great conversations about what it's like to be a woman in business, especially women business owners. And so give us a little insight into what your thoughts are that you maybe you've shared, and it doesn't even have to be PG. Like if you really want to go at it, you're welcome to go at it. That's what the show's for. But what is your thoughts about being a woman in business, like your experience? And go. Who wants to go first? Vallerie.
It fucking sucks at times. It's a dog-eat-dog world. There is nasty women out here. And
wait, that's interesting that your first point was not about men being the issue, but it being nasty women. Okay, so dog-eat-dog world. We're just...
Nope. Those men are not the problem. It's the women. And it's because they don't have their mindset right. So therefore, they think that another woman is competition. But they don't understand that two brains or multiple brains are better than one. And I can't stress this enough on my page and in my group, because these women need to realize that they're going to go further in life if you come together and you say, okay, what are you doing? What's wrong? What are you doing? What's wrong? How can we come together and just help you grow your business? How can we help you, get your mindset right and realize that, you're not down here. These people that are competing are down here. When you change your mindset, you're up here with the other women, and therefore you're going to succeed. But you can't be a negative Nancy. Like, you have to realize that what you bring to the table is unique, and everybody brings something different. So you have to have that like trust factor, and people are going to like you for you. It's not about the product. It's never about the product. It's about you and what you bring to the table. But I don't know how to get that through to some people, because, they come in my group and there's a girl that does a podcast, and I don't listen to it, but my partner did last night, and she wanted to say, I listened to it and then I had to shut it off because she didn't call us out on what we're doing in our group, but she more or less did. And I said, you know what? You don't worry about her. Don't worry about what she's doing. You don't worry about what she's saying. She didn't say our name. You let her do her, because, honey, we are the sun. We are going to shine. And my biggest saying is, there's enough pie in this world for everyone, because I love pie. And you know what? We are building this table. And as long as we keep building it, the right women are going to come. So if they feel like this isn't the table for them, they can get up and leave. No harsh feelings, because we're all about collaboration over competition.
Who else? Who's next? Marisa.
Yeah, I think it's important to look for opportunities where it's advantageous to be a woman. So in what I do, government contracting, there are goals. 5% of federal contracts are going to women-owned businesses. So, look for ways, hopefully, that you can partner with other women-owned businesses. Bring them along too. I agree with some of what Vallerie said. You know, it can be pretty dog eat dog between us, but it doesn't have to be. But I mean, there's a lot more opportunities if you kind of look at the positive side. It's so much better than it used to be years ago. And we should really, you know, take advantage where we can. And
No, I
the
love
reason,
that. Because I was like, oh, damn, you're right. I don't actually do that intentionally, but like, where am I missing the mark? In the areas that I'm missing is, where does it benefit me to be the woman? And I'm like, oh, oh, a whole nother way to really look at it, instead of looking at it in the terms of it's a challenge to be a woman. No, there are places out there in which I need to be the woman.
absolutely.
I think it depends a little bit too. Sorry, Larissa. So I've had my own company for more than 20 years, and then I've been doing what I do for close to 30 now. So I've kind of got a longer range of time to look at. And when I started my business, and still now, I obviously know I'm a woman. I know I'm a women business owner, but I've never approached anything I do or how I interact or whatever with that as the focus. I've always been, you know, this is who I am and these are my skills. This is my background. This is what I've been able to accomplish for clients. And that is what you need to look at. The fact that I'm female or not shouldn't have any bearing. And that's just my own mindset, not to take away from what Marisa said, because it is very important also that we do get in there and take advantages when it's possible. But for me, I've always just approached it like, this is who I'm, a human individual, and this is what I can do for you. But to also go off of what Vallerie said, she is 100% right. I have an enormous group of very supportive and wonderful women, all of whom are sitting right here in front of me now, and have really just benefited greatly from my female partnerships, my female clients, and just those relationships. However, on the flip side, she's exactly right. There have been many times when I've just looked at it and said, what is your deal? We're like supposed to be a sisterhood here, and here you are cutting these other women off at the knees. And I don't know, ladies, if we're going to go way back to the beginning of time when, for whatever freaking reason, we were all competing for the same man. And so that's still stuck in our heads. Because if that's it, ladies, I've been married for almost 30 years. Get the fuck over it.
You can
Find
have me.
something else. Okay. But
Here's $5 taking.
I wonder if it is back to those back in the day when a woman's survival was dependent on the man she picked. That is not the way it is anymore. So we need to grow up, stop feeling that way, and support each other and help each other. And I know we're not all going to like each other. I'm not saying that. But, you know, don't necessarily get in somebody else's way. It's unnecessary.
I'm going to just a small tangent. There is a group called Chapel Heart. I absolutely love them. They're in the country genre, and they wrote a unique song that was an answer to Dolly Parton's Jolene. And it was you can have him back.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
So great of a song. I cannot recommend it enough. It was great. And they were, it was a group, they were on America's Got Talent. Is that right?
Oh.
Something like that. So very, very good group, but that was funny that Kim, I never even thought about that. So we're still competitive to some degree, and the man is in the middle of it. Okay, Larissa, what you got?
Well, I can completely confirm Vallerie, Marisa, Kim, totally feel that way. But for me, with my personal journey, being a woman business owner, I had to realize that not everyone is my client. And that was hard for me because I've always worked in situations where I'm the leader helping everybody, and whether I picked them or not. And so for me, once I started my own business, I literally was going after everyone. Like, everyone can use cookies. Why don't you want my cookies? But not everyone is your client the same way as not every other woman business owner is your friend. It goes that way. But I truly believe in my heart of hearts that there are more good people than bad people. I have been bitten in the butt several times, but I still move forward with, if I'm meeting somebody, how can I connect them with something that would benefit them and not even think about getting anything in return. I try to be like, if I'm thinking I'm going to connect with somebody, but I want something out of it, I then try to really look inside myself and be like, what is it that I'm really wanting out of this? But if I can go to somebody and be like, hey, I just saw that you also work in cookies. Here's some other things that I've tried that really work. Or, if you ever want to get together and talk shop, let's do it. Same thing with like what Vallerie said. High tide raises all ships. So there is enough pie or cookies or whatever dessert that you like out there for everyone. I work with other bakers that are technically my competition, but they're not, because we refer each other for different things. I can't take all the cookie orders in Louisville. There's no way. I don't want to do that. Do what I like, what I think is fun, what I think is quality for me. And then if it doesn't fit for me, I can pass it on to somebody that it could fit for. And it might lead to $1 billion things for them, but that's okay. So I totally agree. Sisterhood all the way around, help each other out, but also not everyone, you don't have to go after everyone. Not everyone's going to be your friend and not everyone's going to be your client.
All right. Next question. What are your thoughts about glass ceilings?
Love it.
In what way?
Because I always think of it as we're about to shatter it, because we're about to come together and we're going to break that glass together, because we're all going to succeed together.
So you're like
I think it's a bit.
Sorry, Marisa, what?
Well, I'm with Vallerie, bring it on, but I think it's a bit antiquated too. Maybe 80s, 90s, there was a glass ceiling. I don't think there's necessarily a glass ceiling. It probably is in some industries still, but overall, unless you want to pick something really niche and, general business, there's no glass ceiling anymore.
Yeah.
It's your abilities.
And I'll chime in with that as well. I totally am all about busting through the glass ceiling, that there isn't one. I am totally all about that, but you don't always have to be that super ambitious person that wants to own the company. You don't have to start as a cashier and just go up and up and up and up and up and try to get to that very tippy top, unless that's really what you want to do. They need people in every single one of those levels, and they need good people. They need people that are going to stay, and they need people that are going to help each other out. If everyone went to the top, then it wouldn't be the top anymore. There's going to be a new top. Something else is going to come up.
Too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I was at a breakfast this morning, and we were talking about how you're going to grow your business and prospecting. I'm like, I don't want any more clients. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm going to help a few people that I've already, a few people with the chamber that we keep talking about doing stuff. But, in terms of big clients, I don't want any more. I don't want to grow huge. I'm happy. There's no reason to. So on that side of it, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that either. There's no reason that you just have to keep exponential growth. I mean, I don't think any of us, well, all of us have talked about how time consuming and difficult it can be to run a company. I don't think any of us are going to go public anytime soon with our companies. I don't know, maybe Christy's planning on going public one day. But
no, I don't need that many people all up in my business.
Yeah, seriously. But there's no reason for it to just to strive for exponential growth. I'd rather have clients that I enjoy working with, and doing things that are interesting to me rather than worrying about growth. But that said, that if I really wanted to do that, there's no reason that I couldn't. I can't see myself wanting to do that anytime soon. But if I wanted to go and have a multinational conglomerate, I could go do it. There's nothing just because I'm a woman that would keep me from doing that.
Kim, what's your thoughts?
I think that we limit ourselves, and that's really, I mean, I think years ago, maybe that glass ceiling was there, and the men or, around us made us perceive that that was the way things were. I don't really see that as much now. I mean, are people still going to look at you and make judgments? Of course, that's what we do, right? Unfortunately, that is how we do it. So, but I think that your work should speak for itself. At least I hope it does. Beautiful world if it did. But I think that we are more self-limiting than anything. But to everyone else's point, and this for me especially was why I started my business, because I love what I do and I love being able to help people, but I have an entire life that is beyond just what I do. And for me, I wanted to be able to still do this, but then have that life. So I think to Marisa's point, you need to decide as an individual where your world is, what makes you happy. And let me tell you, ladies, being on a further middle plus side now, it changes. When I had young ones at home who needed me and were depending on me, that was my world. And that's where I wanted to spend more of my time. Now that they have grown up and are moving on, that relationship is changing. And so I have more time to do different things and more things for myself, for my business, that kind of thing. So, life is not just a put it in park and stop. Life is continuous, right? So you're continuing to move forward. And at every stage of the game, your needs and your wants and your desires will change. So that's the one thing, don't beat yourself up if you're in a spot right now where you do want to park for a few minutes and just be like, career is good where it is. I want to be mom, or I want to travel, or I want to do something else. That's okay. You don't need to Marisa's point, be on this constant upward trajectory, right? You decide for yourself what makes that whole life. And I think that's really the key. And it's a struggle. It's 100% a struggle. It's a struggle, I think, more so as a woman than and I've looked at the men around me in my life, in the business and whatever, they do not seem to struggle with this as much as my female counterparts, and myself included. And I don't really know why that is. Maybe we're just harder on ourselves. Maybe we are, to Larisa's presentation earlier, or Larissa's, just hard on ourselves and expecting us to be able to do everything all the time, constantly being on, constantly doing everything for everybody else, just like at 100%. And it's impossible. So I would just say, back to the question, my point, just figure out where you want to be today and don't worry so much about that 5-year plan that we were all ingrained in forever. And kind of, enjoy life a little bit.
So Kim, would you say that's, and the rest of the room as well, would you guys say that's probably one of the biggest challenges as a woman in business, is that we're the ones that need to handle it all? Like the challenge of, I'm not a mom, so I don't have that piece, but I also don't have pets and I don't have anybody else in my space. So the person that's like head of the household and taking care of all the other living beings in it, and also running a business and is that like a top 3 challenge as a woman in business?
Oh, it's very much a challenge, because you're never going to be everything to everybody, even though that is your goal, and you will run yourself ragged trying to do it. So, and honestly, looking now, I mean, I treat my clients much like my children. So I'm always available to them. And we really need to start kind of but I'm always available to them. I'm always helping them, always listening to their problems, trying to find solutions. And the difference is they are paying me to do it, so I'm fine with that. But yeah, but I think again, to the balancing and thing, I think that, and everybody has to come to this at their own stage of life. And I think later, and it's not like I'm super old, but you know, as you get older and you look back at everything, it's much easier to have perspective, right? When you're stuck in the middle or at the very beginning, I tell my 20-year-old, 24-year-old daughter, like, you have no perspective on anything. That's why this is so hard. Give yourself 20 years, then look back and you're like, I can see it. I can see all the pieces. I can see why God put me here and put this person with me and this and this and this. But I mean, because age is awesome because it provides perspective. So you can look back at everything so that when things start happening in the future, you can go, whoa, we're not going to freak out about this because we've been here before or we've been somewhere similar. But yeah, but I think it's just super. It's always hard to balance, no matter whether you're a parent, whether you're just a woman in business, in a relationship, whatever those things are, aging parents, whatever. It's just constantly hard to balance everything. And just, I think we need to know that there is no real balance. You just do the best you can.
I think it's easier to balance as a business owner, because you know, I don't get vacation days, but then again, I can take any day off within reason. I can't take every day off. I have things that I have to do that can't fall off my schedule, but it's not like I'm working for somebody else and I have to, you know, request sick time or FMLA or vacation or whatever. It's like, whatever I choose to do. Flip side of that is, am I actually going to choose to take, you know, all the vacation time that I have accumulated? Heck no. Man, if I was still getting comp time,
Wait, you accumulate vacation time as a business owner? How does that work?
Yeah, come on. I know, but think about how much I should actually have. You know, when I worked for state government, if we worked over 40, we got comp time. Man, oh man, I wish I was getting paid the comp time now. But
y'all wouldn't be seeing me for 6 weeks.
Seriously, me neither. Well, yeah, when I left, I was getting like a month of vacation time. So yeah, and I don't do that. I don't take a month off. Good Lord. But I can if I want to. I can if I would. Ought to. But yeah, I think it's actually a whole lot easier to balance, you know. If you have small kids and they're doing stuff and you have a company where you can go in the middle of the day and do stuff, somebody working on a factory line cannot do that. They just can't. So I think it's better in a lot of ways.
Larisa?
What I'll say is that I am definitely one of those people that never sees an obstacle, just sees a challenge. And so when I started my business, I was like, I can do everything, and everything is going to be colorful, and everything is going to have my hands in it. And that exhausted me. And so what I needed to realize is, what is it in my business that needs my brain, my hands, that actually have to touch it to make it work? And what can I delegate or automate or hire somebody to do, that it doesn't make a difference if it's me or not, as long as it's getting done. Like sticking labels on the back of my cookie sheets. It doesn't have to be me.
That's why you have children. Isn't that why you have children? Come on.
My kid puts stickers on him, so it doesn't work. But
now we get into child labor laws, and we don't have time for that in this episode.
But like,
but if figure out, kid, it's okay.
Yeah, figure out what it is that is so unique to you that is making your business pop. Know what that is, and then be able to let go of things that you don't have to touch. And that you can say, you know what, I can automate this to every time that somebody messages me on Facebook, they get this automatic reply message. It doesn't have to be me. That's a small way to think about it. But overall, you can do that for your entire business. My business actually has to have my hands. If my hands aren't on my cookies and making them, that's it. Like, there's nothing else there. Doesn't mean that I don't always have ideas of other things to be there, but know what you need to do and know what you can let go of.
So one final question. What advice would you give other women in business? And since we're business owners, let's talk to the other business owners out there. What advice would you give them as like, these are the things that we should be paying attention as women in business? We've already had a lot of great stuff going on. So just like build on the current conversation, really. But is there something?
Have an accountant that you can trust.
That's a good one. I would say have a support group, have people that you can give ideas or get feedback in a safe and supportive way. I'm one of those people, I love to brainstorm, but I also think, oh God, what if somebody takes my idea and then now they're going to run off with it? The ladies that I choose to share things with would never do that. And they're all just as supportive and coming to me with like, oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? You need to have people that you can trust to give you honest feedback and then to also support you or help guide you into whatever it is that you're needing help with.
Yeah, to that point, you have to have a hobby because running a business can consume all of your time. You just have to find whatever it is that makes you happy to go do that.
Agreed.
I would say also to remember why you started the business and why you wanted to do this in the first place, especially as you get, like I said, I've been doing this on my own for over 20 years. So as you get further in the process, in the first couple of years, you're very involved in the getting it going. But as things are going, just to take a little bit of time and celebrate, as we've talked about, celebrate your accomplishments, pat yourself on the back when you've done things, take a look back at what you've been able to accomplish. And when you do have those moments, because we all do, where we doubt ourselves and why am I doing this? It'd be so much easier if I just cashed a check from somebody else and that kind of thing, just to go back and really remember what were your reasons, because we all have them and they're all different. And not not what you're doing, not that I do PR, but why did I want to do this myself? Why did I leave a company and do this? And just remind yourself of what those things are, and that, because that can be very motivational, especially in the dark times, to keep you going and reconnect you with those, excitement and the feelings of, I'm going to do this. We're going to get out there. We're going to do it.
I'm going to say, because it took me a long time to get this in my mindset, like change my mindset around this, but make sure that you set your boundaries. And make sure that when you're setting your boundaries, you delegate things out. Because I am a mother of 2 toddlers. My mother lives with us. She's in her first stage of dementia. And my boyfriend has PTSD from serving in Iraq. And here I am, I started my business. I have an online boutique, which I don't tend to do that so much because I'm focused on oils and, the natural path, and now creating this whole Bourbon Boss Babes community. So I wear many different hats, and starting Bourbon Boss Babes, I was like, here I do everything in this household. Like, this household does not function without me. And I just sat down one day and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I get up at, between 5 and 7 a.m. and I'm not going to bed till like 3 a.m. Like, I'm exhausted. And, I feel like, I don't know what that little green gummy guy was when I was a kid, but he was real stretchy.
Gumby.
You know what I'm talking?
Gumby.
Gumby? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always felt like I was Gumby. And like, my boyfriend's pulling on this arm, my mom's pulling on this arm, and then I got each toddler pulling on my leg, right? And I was like, you know what? You can't pour from an empty cup, and I am all about my toddlers. I don't want to miss a milestone. And I'm just like, I pour everything into these two little kids. And I was like, you know what? If those dishes don't get done by noon from breakfast, it's okay. It's okay. If that laundry basket piles up and I don't get to it the next day, it's okay. You don't have to do everything all the time. This house does not have to be spectacular all the time. Like, these are toddlers living here, right? So when you clean up one mess, they've already got 10 more made, right? And you're like, dude, I just seriously spent 15 minutes cleaning up this one mess and you guys made 10 other ones. It's okay. It's okay. Let it go and just do what you can do, but always make sure that you give back to yourself, because sometimes no one else is going to pour into your cup. So it's very important to fill your own cup first, and then you give what you can to the others.
And I would piggyback on a lot of that and say, remove expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The expectations of others, and reevaluate your own. That you ain't going to meet them.
Nope.
You're not going to meet them.
No, and if you would turn around to your best friend and be like, hey, that was so awesome what you did, give that same excitement back to yourself sometimes. Be your own best friend. But to go off of what Vallerie said made me think of a quote. It's like, don't half-ass anything that you can whole-ass. If all you got that day is half an ass, then do it. Like, if that's all you got, then sometimes that's enough.
Yep.
Just like, if there's dishes in the sink that don't get done and nobody sees it, cool. If you don't get up out of bed and that's all that you can do that day is to just survive, to literally breathe in and out and just keep your heart going. Everybody gets to those points sometimes, and you don't have to go all in on everything. Yep. You can half-ass something if you need to. No big deal. And chances are no one's going to know that you half-assed it but you. And trust me, from an artist that is my own worst critic, nobody else will notice but you. And so give yourself that grace and say, you know what? I don't have, I can't do that today. Let it go with grace. If you wouldn't tell your best friend that they need to reevaluate their life about it, let it go. Let it go.
Yep.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for giving of your time and your thoughts and insights and perspectives. I really appreciate it. And look forward to continuing to deepen our communication and relationships through our own Women-Owned Business Roundtable. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I love the conversation. And what has been interesting for me, like in this particular panel conversation, was even though I may ask a question and I think it's going to go one way, it goes in a totally different direction. And part of the consistency that I've had in my conversations this month, I've even spoken at a women's event at an area in my own hometown. And we talk about the glass ceiling, or we talk about these different things. But it's also been moving from, even I've noticed just in the past few years, instead of it being a blame game, we're kind of moving into this, who gives a rip? I'm going to do the work anyway. The work's got to get done. I don't care about what you think about me as a woman. The work's got to get done. Like, if I really want to accomplish something, me being a woman has nothing to do with it. You might have a problem with it. I don't. Let's keep doing the work. Like, just a lot more of the setting aside the fact that I am a woman shouldn't have any bearing on me doing the work, unless I'm trying to, I don't even know what that would be, because I'm thinking about, unless I'm trying to lift something that's 300 pounds, but I'm like, men can't do that either. That's where you get the big boy toys, are what they're called. But I'm like, I wouldn't mind driving a forklift every once in a while. I don't know how, but I'm sure I can figure that out. So there's so many things that, while as a woman, I could probably do a lot of what men do, and vice versa. However, there are certain things men cannot get the hang of doing that women can, and women just don't need to be doing. a lot of the things that men do. Like, I choose not to change the oil in my car. I don't know how. I don't want to do that. So I feel like we've become more empowered, but we've had to empower ourselves. And our biggest challenge, honestly, as women, is ourselves. So with that, I hope that you take some of their great advice that they had today and take and run with that. That's going to be amazing. And of course, stay tuned for the next episode of Small Business Success Talk, where I think we still have one more episode for Women's History Month. So stay tuned for that. Should be exciting and interesting and empowering for everyone. Thanks, everybody. Oh, by the way, remember, like, share with your friends, hit the subscribe button, all the things. Leave us a great comment, something, but just help keep this going. Thanks, everybody.